As president, I directed my administration to step up our efforts, and we have. For the first time, at Hillary's direction, our annual trafficking report now includes the United States, because we can't ask other nations to do what we are not doing ourselves. With more than 20 million victims of human trafficking around the world, think about that, more than 20 million. We've got a lot more to do.
Susurros a los espíritus en sus sueños, envolvió sus sentimientos, sus más profundos deseos. Nada se compara, nada nunca va a sentirse así.
Camera?
Yeah, baby.
Make sure it shows at the wedding tomorrow. Filming a bachelor party ever amounted to anything good.
That's not a freedom. That's not a freedom.
That's up here on the right. Hey, up here on the right. Where do the high school girls hang out?
I can show it to Sarah later, right?
The single most lucrative commercial enterprise in the world. The fastest growing crime on the planet.
Yeah, girl.
Man, we're gonna get shot. Boys, welcome.
Sick.
It's a reality.
You're talking about hundreds of billions of dollars.
Hey, Mark, we should probably cut the camera.
This is not a lifestyle choice.
It'll be as long as you wanna make it, you know.
We live in a world where we don't necessarily know what's going on next door.
Yeah.
I don't even know where we are right now.
Oh yeah, some serious massage.
If you're not seeing it, you're not looking for it.
What kind of place is this?
It's everywhere.
It's not even light out.
They live under constant threat of violence, under constant threat or actual sexual abuse. They are given only enough food to sustain them.
As a UN Goodwill Ambassador, a lot of my work pertains to advocating for trafficking victims outside of this country, and I deal with the problems of victims internationally. And I am quite horrified to say that, based on my meetings today, I think that we are handling this situation worse than most countries that I've visited, because I think we have a basic misunderstanding of the problem. All child prostitution is trafficking, all of it. Every person under 18, and I would argue those who are past 18 but who were started in it on the street before 18 in what they call the game, to make it childlike and something a child can relate to, all of that is a criminal act, a severe criminal act visited upon the minor. And make no mistake, if a man is buying commercial sex, he is supporting the rape of hundreds of thousands of children per year. And the age on the street is getting lower and lower for entrance into prostitution, some as young as 9, the average age between 11 to 14 as the entrance age. None of these children are doing this willingly, and there is no way. I am ashamed that our country criminalizes them. We take a child who we see as being sold for money to pedophiles, and we put her in jail. And that is what is happening in every state in this country. Often the only way a girl is taken off the streets or a boy is taken off the street is they are arrested and put in jail while their traffickers are not convicted. They are not brought to justice because it is more difficult to build a case against them. Even if the child is found engaging in a sexual act with their pimp who is 45 and they're 12, they will arrest the girl, and it will be harder to prove that the man is her pimp and that he is earning money off of her and that he is committing the crime of trafficking. We have a far greater domestic sex trafficking problem than a foreign one.
The journey, for all of us, begins with hopes, dreams, ambitions. You start to see the kind of person you want to become. See a version of the future that is full, brimming with something good. That's all she wanted. Nothing more, nothing extraordinary, just to be.
What I find that's very interesting that most girls feel a very strong disconnect, because this is not just happening to poor girls. I've met 4 young girls who are actually attending Berkeley College who have been trafficked, who come from very, very nice, seemingly very stable family backgrounds, who got caught up in trafficking and just feeling a disconnect at home. So I think it's very important that we keep that connection, we keep that communication with our youth. I think a lot of times our kids get to a certain age and we feel like, oh, they're doing that. Right. You know, you have to keep that communication, and it is a must. You couldn't believe the stories that I've heard about girls who've been trafficked who will go to or asked by a girlfriend, hey, after school we're going to go to this party. And they go to some place far out in the suburbs, and, you know, they're having a good time and they get drugged, and next thing you know, they wake up and they have these pictures of themselves, you know, in sexual acts that they don't remember. And the guy says, you come back here tomorrow or this picture is going to be all over the internet, and I know where your mother works. So you have girls who go to school, after school, 3 to 9, they're at this place with this guy that's holding them, you know, blackmailing them with these pictures.
How common is that? How I mean, it sounds so...
Doesn't it?
Yes.
But see,
yes.
the thing...
And you're talking about here in the United States.
We're talking about here in the United States, and it's I'm trying to give you an understanding of the methods that are used, these invisible chains that are used to entrap these young girls and young boys, okay? And so there are different methods, and when we talk about slavery, people are so used to, you know, chains and a whip. It's a whole different scene right now, and that's actually a true story. It was a whole ring of young girls from this particular high school that were being trafficked, and it took one girl to be brave enough to tell her mother.
Now, finally, as one of the largest purchasers of goods and services in the world, the United States government will lead by example. We've already taken steps to make sure our contractors do not engage in forced labor. And today we're going to go further. I've signed a new executive order that raises the bar. It's specific about the prohibitions. It does more to protect workers. It ensures stronger compliance. In short, we're making clear that American tax dollars must never, ever be used to support the trafficking of human beings. We will have zero tolerance. We mean what we say. We will enforce it.
During the transatlantic slave trade, the value of a young male agricultural worker on U.S. soil was an equivalent of $40,000 today. You can buy that same young male agricultural worker on U.S. soil for about $300 today. I remember in particular one girl who was crying as she told her testimony. She wasn't crying because she had been forced into the sex trade. She wasn't crying because she had been beaten and raped. She wasn't crying because she'd been stripped naked and chained. She wasn't crying because her so-called parents had shoved a baton down her throat to get her to do it. She was crying because after her rehabilitation, which was coming to an end, she had nowhere else to go other than to return to those parents.
Sweet chariots of flame change my name. No one's always the same. So the funny one you find when you climb and track the
It's time for the world to focus on acknowledging that slavery still exists. It's never gone away. But we put people on the moon. We have dolphin-friendly tuna. Why can't we do the same for kids and people?
And that's why earlier this year I directed my administration to increase our efforts. And today I can announce a series of additional steps that we're going to take. First, we're going to do more to spot it and stop it. We'll prepare a new assessment of human trafficking in the United States so we better understand the scope and scale of the problem. We'll strengthen training so investigators and law enforcement are even better equipped to take action. And treat victims as victims, not as criminals. We're going to work with Amtrak and bus and truck inspectors so that they're on the lookout. We'll help teachers and educators spot the signs as well and better serve those who are vulnerable, especially our young people. Second, we're turning the tables on the traffickers. Just as they are now using technology and the internet to exploit their victims, we're going to harness technology to stop them. We're encouraging tech companies and advocates and law enforcement. And we're also challenging college students to develop tools that our young people can use to stay safe online and on their smartphones. Third, we'll do even more to help victims recover and rebuild their lives. We'll develop a new action plan to improve coordination across the federal government. We're increasing access to services to help survivors become self-sufficient. We're working to simplify visa procedures for T visas so that innocent victims from other countries can stay here as they help us prosecute their traffickers. Our fight against human trafficking is one of the great human rights causes of our time, and the United States will continue to lead it in partnership with you.
compara.